Army of Darkness, or my personal favorite, The Medieval Dead. Army of Darkness was the first film I was introduced to the Ashley James William character, also known as Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, is an iconic anti-hero with a chainsaw for a right hand and a double-barreled shotgun, also known as AKA his boomstick, in this film. And just him with his smart-ass, snarky personality and his will to survive at any means and any cost. And him simply being one of the few hero characters, male characters in a horror film or horror-related projects to be in. That's why he's become so iconic, because it's always been the last girl, the final girl, last chick, who doesn't get killed screwing or run upstairs or stupid like that. In here, it is just he's a guy. It's different, Guys can be vulnerable and defenseless and learn how to defend themselves midway through crisis and become stronger for it. Ash is. Not saying that he's necessarily the deepest character or the most sensitive, thought-out, introspective characters, but he is a character, and it's nice to have something iconic in that to latch onto and see, and not necessarily idolize, because he's not necessarily a good role model. I'm just saying that he's fascinating. What can I say about this film? He gets sucked into a wormhole and travels back into medieval times. No, not the place in The Cable Guy where he fights Jim Carrey. No, I'm talking about the real time period, the Dark Ages, as you call it, when people live the age of 40 because they're shit in their backyards and they didn't know good hygiene. This film, not as gory, but it relies more on physical slapstick and things and humors, and there's just great lines of dialogue. Very quotable, a very quotable film. Just like one of the funniest films, one of the funniest parts in the whole film has gotta be during the near climax of the film. Just this legless skeleton with a knife in his teeth running under Ash, and he's going to say, "I'm gonna cut your gizzard off." And I'm like, that was like the funniest thing ever. And Ash, in swashbuckling fashion, cuts the rope, he gets flung up in the air, and the counterweight falls down onto the skeleton. He's like, "Oh no!" Crash. And I just found that hilarious, just how that scene was put together. I pissed my pants laughing, crying so hard because it is so funny. And just something like that. Sam Raimi has a good balance between horror, action, and comedy, all into one. That's why probably some points in Dragnet Hell were like kind of funny, but practical effects always work better for this, because CG is like some points in horror movies. CG, no. Practical effects were made for horror and action. When you put in CG blood and CG gore, like what they did with Land of the Dead, the zombie with his neck hanging down, he flips his head back like a fucking Pez dispenser, comes to bite down, just shit like that. Just like, no, that takes me out of the movie. It looks not fakey. Use practical effects, you can do it. It'd be a lot more work, but it's a lot more worth it, and you get a lot more respect out of me, I tell you. And probably a majority of horror movie fans like myself. Story itself is quite neat. Ash has to find the Necronomicon because there's an inscription in there, an incantation and potions, whatever, to send him into the future. Into the future! Where are we? The future! Anyway, a couple of nights ago, me and Duke were talking about Bruce Campbell and other things, and there's this fun drinking game. Every time Ash gets hurt, take a shot. I'll send you an ambulance by midnight. Just something funny like that. Yeah. All I'm gonna say the rest about this, it's a funny film. It's a great introduction, and get the comic book novelization, or the comic book version novelization. I'm an idiot. Get get the comic book version of this. It's I forget how many issues is it, but it's really good. It gets really deep in there, and Sam Raimi wrote it. It's like, whoa, he wrote this, and he does a really good job. This is like the first and only comic Sam Raimi, fuck, whatever he wrote. The guy who made the Spider-Man films, that guy, he wrote it, and it's really good. You get really deep in Ash's head. Not necessarily there's a lot in there, it's just what's in there is interesting, you know? Kind of like, he has an engineering degree, or almost had one, and he dropped out of college. And so that's why it explains that he's able to make this fucking death coaster and make a robotic hand, you know? But, yeah. Good, bad. I'm the guy with the gun. Groovy. This is to you, Drew. Duke. Drew. Not you, Drew, I mean Duke. Dedicated Duke. Fuck.